you didn't already go out and buy it, buy Robyn Crawford book entitled A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston. A very great read. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on any bookstore. And you can also get it on Audible where Robyn reads the book herself. Go support her right now. Whitney and Robyn, Part 2. After the big wedding, the whirlwind of the bodyguard came about. After all the media and the press, it was tour time. But before tour time happened, Whitney Houston became a mom. And her friend Robyn was very proud of her becoming a mother. Robyn at this time moved out of the mansion and Sylvia took her room and the baby's room was by Robyn's old room. Whitney and Bobby would spend day after day in Whitney Houston's suite of the mansion. They would rarely ever come out. Even when it's time for the bodyguard tour at the hotels, they would just stay in their hotel room day after day after Whitney Houston show. Robyn started to quickly lose contact with her best friend physically, not seeing her at all sometimes. While everything was going great on the bodyguard tour, in Robyn's personal life, a lot was happening. Her brother was dying of AIDS, and so was her mother. At this time, HIV and AIDS was very devastating to the world. People was dropping like flies in the 80s and as well as the early 90s. Robyn's mother and brother moved into her 3-bedroom condo. Juggling being Whitney Houston's best friend and personal assistant, then dealing with her, her family. Her mother is dying and her brother is dying. And I don't know where her mind was at that time. I couldn't even fathom that. That lady is so strong. Robyn was a very strong woman. She is a strong woman. And to juggle all those things, that had to be stressful, mind-boggling, and oh my gosh. I can't even imagine something like that. Robyn's brother life ended in his battle with AIDS. During this time, instead of having a friend that she could rely on during a family gathering in Bali, a family vacation, Aunt Bay allegedly told Whitney to tell the truth about her relationship and Robyn's relationship from back in the day. And Whitney Houston told Bobby Brown, and Bobby Brown was upset and furious. This caused a lot of drama between Whitney and Bobby, and also drama between Bobby and Robyn. As time passed, one day, Robyn and her mother was watching the news, and on one of the news channels, Kevin Amos, a former associate of Whitney Houston and the boyfriend of Whitney Houston's ex-publicist, was making a tell-all book. And in the book, he revealed that John Houston wanted Robyn to get hurt. He wanted to hurt her, scare her, not kill her, but scare her to get away from Whitney Houston. Robyn and her mother was very surprised to hear this. And like other stories, Robyn, ignored it, but this one she couldn't. And she called Whitney. And Whitney Houston told her that she was going to talk to her father. And Whitney Houston talked to her father, allegedly screaming, "That's my friend, Daddy." And she called Robyn back and told Robyn that everything is going to be okay and nobody was going to hurt Robyn. Later on, one of Whitney's brothers confirmed the story and said that the father wanted him to break Robyn's kneecaps, allegedly. This must have had to be very devastating to Robyn. How dare the father try to hurt her? How dare John Houston try to hurt his child's best friend, the woman that's providing everything? Whitney's providing everything for them, and Robyn had her back. How dare him wanting to hurt her? because Robyn was on to him. That's why, in my opinion. With Whitney Houston newfound fame as a Hollywood actress now, her home life was getting terrible. She was kicking Bobby Brown in and out of that mansion. One day they was together, the next day he was gone. And during this time, Bobby Brown had gotten into a lot of trouble with getting arrested, being in a shootout, and things of that nature, allegedly. Also, during this time in Robyn's life, watching all of this unfold, she still wanted to make her mother's life as easy and comfortable as possible. Her mother lived in apartments all her life as an adult, and she wanted to give her mother a home. So she'd been looking at real estate property, and with her best friend's help, Whitney Houston gifted Robyn $100,000 to put down payment for her mother's dream home. What a beautiful friend. During one of Whitney Houston and Robyn's business ventures with the production company, Whitney Houston turned down working with iconic, iconic Pharrell Williams. At this time, Pharrell was 21 years old, and he really wanted to work with Whitney Houston. The Neptunes wanted to work with Whitney Houston, just create music, a production deal, and things of that nature. But Whitney Houston declined to work with him due to the influence allegedly from Bobby Brown wanting to work with a DC producer named Chucky. And if Chucky, I think, is the same guy that produced Candace single I See You, the go-go version remix from Potomac, the Real Housewives of Potomac. So I think that's the producer that Whitney Houston chose over working with Pharrell Williams. Are you kidding me? So Robyn had to endure things like that, seeing her friend just getting influenced to be sabotaged. Bobby Brown, influenced her and giving her sabotaging decisions. Whitney Houston made very sabotage decisions under the influence of Bobby Brown, allegedly. In 1996, Robyn's mother passed. This time in Robyn's life, oh my gosh. First she loses her brother, and now she loses her mother. She only have her sister at this point. And the funeral was held at Whitney Houston's church, New Hope Baptist. Robyn sent her mother to glory in warm clothing, leggings, a blouse, a cream jacket trimmed in gold, and a matching head wrap to cover her hair. So sweet. While back at work, Robyn began to become happy seeing her friends sing her true music that she loved singing, and that was gospel music. She saw Whitney Houston perform various scenes for the preacher's wife, and she was reading her friend on, and she was happy to see Whitney Houston singing gospel music. Whitney Houston was very disappointed of Arista Records' lack of support for the soundtrack due to it allegedly being gospel music. One day, Sylvia called Robyn in a panic and says Whitney and Bobby is at it again. This was the time during the New Edition Home Again tour, and they were in Atlanta. Whitney decided to surprise Bobby on tour, along with her assistant Sylvia. As they got to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, she knocked on Bobby Brown's hotel door, and he would not answer. She asked the hotel people could they give her a key, but they would not allow her to get a key. So she got a room right next, like on the same floor as his room. And once she saw Bobby Brown, allegedly, once she saw Bobby Brown's brother and security guard outside of the hotel room, she knocked on the door again, and Bobby Brown came to the door and said he didn't want her there, that it was his time. And after that, he spit in her face. He hawk spit in her face, allegedly, and Whitney Houston ran down the hall in tears, crying, into her hotel room, and he came behind her. As she tries to call her father, Bobby Brown takes the phone receiver from her hand and knocks her over her head. Whitney Houston screams and falls to the floor. He's cussing her out and he is humiliating her. Once at the second tour location in Detroit, Sylvia called Robyn again, telling her to get there quick. Once Robyn arrived, she saw her friend, Whitney, disheveled, dry weave, vacant eyes, and the sound of drugs in her voice. She was in the hotel on a not so much luxurious hotel, but a basic hotel. And she was on a drug binge, allegedly. Bobby allegedly had gotten a room on another floor for him and another woman to spend time while Whitney Houston is on the other floor on a drug binge. As she's trying to talk sense into Whitney, Bobby enters the room and he tells Whitney that she look a mess. And he told Robyn, "What are you doing here?" And Whitney told Robyn it's time for her to go home. And at this time, Robyn finally realized that she lost Whitney Houston's ear of reasoning. She couldn't really tell, she couldn't help her friend out anymore. Whitney Houston was lost. And with drugs, oh baby, it was very terrible time. So Robyn leaves and Whitney stays. During this time, Aunt Bay's daughter Shelly would go on tours with Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown to watch Bobby Christina and and to care for Whitney Houston as well. And Bobby and them left Whitney. He left Whitney. Bobby, the entourage, not Aunt Bay, Shelly, and everybody left her, and it was just Sylvia and Whitney. That's how much he didn't care about her, allegedly. I remember during that time, the Home Again tour, it was everybody was talking about how Whitney Houston was out of it at the shows. She was out of it in front of her daughter. And it's so sad. Out of it, high as a kite, people making fun of her. It was a guy. It was a guy that was a business partner with her father, and he called John Houston and said allegedly that he had passed Whitney Houston and didn't know that was even Whitney Houston until it came to him that that was Whitney Houston. That how bad she looked. He said she just looked like an average drug addict, just passed him by, and he realized it was her after she was gone. He had passed her in the street because they was looking for Whitney, and she was going on different drug binges during the Home Again tour allegedly, and she just was not in her right mind. I remember the tabloids and the news outlets had a field day about how bad Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's um behavior was on the tour. They had to get their own separate tour bus. That's how bad it was. It was very bad. Him hallucinating, her on these drug binges, and both of them on these tirades. It was just awful, 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 awful. Once back home, Sylvia, you know, called a meeting for uh, Whitney Houston's parents and told them everything, what was going on. Robyn was so happy that was coming from a different person. They didn't want to listen to anything Robyn had to say. So once, she's telling the parents what's going on, Robyn think about, this about time they're going, get her help. By Sylvia telling them what happened, the Houston camp allegedly, like they do, a lot of people, even bodyguards said once they, try to tell them about Whitney Houston's troubles, it's like your services are no longer needed. So they demoted Sylvia, and she was kind of like, it was punished for telling the truth on Whitney. And this time, Whitney Houston was going on the Pacific Rim tour. And she usually Sylvia is right by her side, but she had to stay home. They wanted her to stay home to clean the litter boxes, the cats' litter boxes, and to water the plants, like demoting her. And Whitney came to Sylvia and said, "I want to take you," but they said, "I can't trust you," and left. And went on for umpteen months from her home and left Sylvia behind. Robyn was already not going. After Whitney Houston tour ended, while coming back home, Bobby Brown was grabbing Whitney Houston off of the porch in the altercation, allegedly. Sylvia saw what was going on and intervened and told Whitney Houston to run. The two both ran into the house, and Bobby Brown started jumping on Whitney Houston's porch and cracking the roof, crushing the roof. And at this time, Whitney Houston saw that Sylvia really had her back and, you know, made her back her personal assistant. She, promoted her back to be her personal assistant. And Donna Houston did not like that, allegedly. And Whitney Houston said she didn't care what anybody thought. She said she paid the bills around here, and she told Sylvia she knows that she loved her. She told Sylvia, like, I know you love me. And that's how Sylvia got her position back with Whitney Houston. With all the antics, Whitney Houston's drug behavior became out of control. Robyn, as a concerned friend, went to John Houston. John Houston told Clive Davis what was going on, and Clive Davis recommended a rehab center called Silver Hill in Connecticut. This came about really after Whitney Houston was supposed to do an appointment with Clive Davis, and her and allegedly one of her brothers was getting high all night long, and she couldn't make it. And Robyn had to tell Clive Davis that she can't go, she can't even get dressed, allegedly. So that's what happened. That's what made Robyn go tell, John Houston, and Clive, referred them to go to Silver Hill. Robyn and John went to, to a consultation and, to tell them about Whitney Houston and her problems and, to see if she would be a great candidate. So they went back, and John Houston said, he wanted to, he was going to talk to Whitney about it. And once they got back to the Nippy Inc. office, Sissy Houston was there, and she was upset because they didn't invite her to go. And then John talked to Whitney, and Whitney said she didn't want to go. So Robyn wanted to, see for herself, and she went to go see Whitney. And Whitney Houston said she wasn't ready to go to rehab. Very sad and very heartbreaking. She did not want her to go at all. By this time, Whitney Houston knew she was in trouble. She knew her, addiction was getting deeper and deeper. This time, Clive Davis did like an intervention with Courtney Love, allegedly had a dinner at his house, trying to get her, get some help. And he offered his house in the Hamptons, and he offered her to bring two people that she trusts, and he was gonna get a private nurse for her, for rehab, somewhere safe and some place that she could feel comfortable. And she was really thinking about really going. She really was going to go. So at the end of the day, before she was going to go the next day, her brother came. Allegedly, it's Michael. It's not her other brother. The brother I've been talking about has been Michael, allegedly. Michael came to the house, to the Jersey mansion, and him and Whitney Houston disappeared in the back room for 2 days. 2 days. Not a day, not a couple of hours, 2 days. The Hamptons never came up again. This is quoted in Robyn's book. So sad. Very sad. And it's so sad because Robyn had to endure this. She had to watch her friend go through this roller coaster of tragedy, very tragic roller coaster of, the circles and the bad marriage and the circles of drugs, and seeing her, her loved ones not really helping her. No one really around her helping her, except for Robyn and Sylvia. So sad. Very sad. And, this is your best friend. Despite whatever relationship they had, previously, but they was best friends at the end of the day. You understand? Their friendship never left. And to see your best friend go through this is so sad. Very sad. And then Robyn has gone through traumatic life experiences, losing her brother and her mother to a vicious disease, and then, trying to be there for the world's best female singer of all time trying to hold the pieces, that's a lot. That was a lot. Robyn is a very strong person, a strong woman. At this point, Robyn is putting two and two together. She's finding out that Whitney Houston allegedly is smoking lace marijuana joints with crack cocaine. One evening, Whitney Houston's brother Michael allegedly came to Robyn's house and to talk, just to, he said he was in the area and he had put out two joints and Robyn smoked one. He asked her to smoke and she thought it was just, marijuana, weed, a blunt. And she smoked it and she knew it was something different, that it was laced with something. And he told her that it was okay that he was there with her and that when she smoked it, she didn't feel like herself. She felt like her soul was coming out of her body. And she called Whitney and she said she think that, Michael had some bad drugs. But she realized that he kept telling her it was a wooly and she didn't understand what a wooly was. A wooly is a joint that's laced with crack cocaine.